Hello, and welcome to the Perry Connection. I'm your host, Jessie Barth, and with me in the studio is Ray Suriani. And I could say like Mr. Music Man, or you're a music person, and Ray is going to be taking over the baton of the Perry Community Band, and we're really so grateful to have you at the helm.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. So welcome, and we just want to talk to you. We just want to know more about you and your story,
Okay.
and the influence that music has made in your life. So, can you get us started? Where did you grow up, and who are your influences? And
Sure. Well, I'm from Hornell. And,
Cornell, okay.
That's where I went to high school and stayed mainly in that area, for my college years and so on. And where did this all start? Well, most likely it started on Saturday evenings in my grandparents' house watching Lawrence Welk.
Okay. Boy, your eyes lit up when you thought about that. Well, I'd like to confess that my husband and I have been known to watch Lawrence Welk
Yep.
too. So what was that?
Oh,
Describe that.
I don't know why it was such a big deal, but it was a variety show,
You're
and
right.
and I know my grandparents liked watching, the music and so on, so when we went there, we would all gather around the television, and so it was more like a family.
Sure.
It definitely was a family thing. So I started watching the performers, and I was just enthralled with what they were doing as adults. It's like, oh wow, this is pretty cool to watch this. And
How old were you? Like five, or
I'm
were
going
you
to
older?
say 4 or 5,
Okay.
because one of the performers was the accordion player.
Oh yeah,
On
Myram
Myram
Forum.
Floren, yeah. And so I said, I would really like to play that. So my mother got me lessons, and I was 5 years old. And that was
On
my
the
very,
accordion.
Yep, that was my very first instrument. So it was a smaller, it was like a quarter size accordion, but I was able to play some decent things for a couple years on that.
Okay, did you play by ear?
No. I mean, I
Okay.
definitely took lessons. So
Okay.
that's where I learned a lot of my theory when I was
Sure.
5, 6 years old.
Good for
So just your basic theory things and chords and things like that. That's where I learned it at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think about it, I thought it was when I was playing piano, when I learned how to play piano, but it was actually earlier than that. So so when I was like 5 or 6 years old, that's when those sounds started getting in my ears, and being able to perform a melody along with these chords at the
Right.
same time. That was cool. That was just for a
It's like you
5-year-old.
could see the possibilities,
Yeah,
and then seeing your idol on television.
right.
Did
yeah.
you ever write him a fan
No,
note or
no.
say you inspired me?
No, there's a couple people in my earlier years that I should have written to, but I haven't. But the he was one of them, and the other person was the piano player Joanne Castle.
Oh,
Remember her? Okay, she was just having
What a
such.
character.
I know, she was having such a grand
I
time.
loved it when she'd go,
Yeah,
to the
and
audience.
she would just whip
Oh,
her fingers around
incredible
that piano.
talent.
And I thought, oh wow, that's another cool instrument. I really want to play that. So after I got done taking a couple years of accordion, then I started taking piano lessons, and that's where things really started to click. And it was just like, oh okay, now I can hear the full orchestra here in my hands at all
Right.
times.
And did you love to practice? You were very
When
self-motivated?
when I was younger and when I first started, yes. Then I got involved with other things, and then not so much during my teen years. But then once I went through high school and I realized this is what I really want to do, then I started practicing a lot more. I took piano lessons again, and got involved with what we were talking about earlier. Got involved with choir again,
Right.
and I was always involved with band. From 4th through 12th grade.
Now, you had mentioned an elementary school teacher.
Yep.
Tell me about that individual.
Her name is Carol Topping. I think she's still around.
Okay.
But don't know what it was. She was the happiest person, and every week, whatever day, we had music, she would come in, and everybody in the class was always excited to see this woman walk into the classroom. And she was, she had her classroom on the cart.
Right, right.
And so she had all these instruments.
Did you have to push the piano in too?
Yep. Oh yeah, she did the whole.
My mother was an elementary music teacher.
Okay.
Itinerant.
And so that's she would come in, and she would sing hello to us, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And so everybody would sing back to her, and she had so much power, just when she walked into the room, and it was so different than the regular academic classroom teacher. And but there was just something about her that, she just got everybody motivated. Everybody had such a good time. It was only half an hour a week, and we had a great time playing instruments and singing and learning about this song and things like that. And for an elementary student, just to get so involved with that, she was just great. And so, for whatever 6-7 years that we were in elementary school, every week.
Right.
And I would just really look forward to having her come into the classroom. Didn't make a difference if it was kindergarten or 5th grade or whatever. It's just she just always so positive.
Well, let's stop and talk about music for a little bit, because my husband who grew up in Perry, Dick Barth, who grew up in Perry, attended the old school. Every Friday they would play over the loudspeaker music from, I don't know if it was WXXI, or they would play classical music over the loudspeaker for the whole school, and they would just sit there and they would just listen. And he said that was a very, very important role. It played an important role in his life, to really just be still and to love something so beautiful as classical music. And especially if a child doesn't have that in their home environment, where else do they get that? And so, I've always admired the school district for doing that. So can you describe as a child, was it just making you happy, or did it meet a deeper need? Or
I think music has a different effect on people, but it just it was always something that could calm me down. Like playing the piano now is a very calming experience for me, And so even if I'm practicing doing it, it's very calming for me. It's just something that makes me feel good on the inside. And I think it's different for everybody. Like you might like one style of music, I like another style of music. And there are styles of music that can make you agitated when you're listening to it, and there's music that would just make you feel. It's like, for example, La Boheme, Puccini. Okay, I can listen to that album all day long, every day, and I would still feel just so good on the inside. And I know what it is. It's the melodies. It's the chords underneath. It's just it's just
the whole package, really, with Puccini.
And that's it just makes me feel good. And playing instruments is the same way. And I think it's the whole idea of creating something. Okay. It's not just a listening experience, but it's also, for me, it's creating creating an art form. And so every time, like in class, when I was teaching, it was like, okay, today we're going to create music. We're not just going to play our instruments, but we're creating music now, and we're creating the sound that hopefully you will enjoy.
Good. Well, that's very empowering.
Yeah.
For children, especially. Yeah. Okay, so I want to just touch on something you had said that I loved too. Which was that your big brother was involved in musical theater, and that when you saw that come alive for you, once again you were younger, the impression that made, and you're still involved in musical theater, too. Can you just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
And just tell us some of the leading roles you've had, too.
The first time I saw my older brother on stage, it was down in Hornell, and that auditorium down there is pretty big. So for a younger person, it looked huge at the time, and just listening to the score, listening to the overture, and at that time knowing what it was, I mean, okay, this is overture. I know that we're going to hear some different sounds, and different songs from the show there. Okay, got it. But when that curtain opened,
And was it Oklahoma?
it was
that you said?
Oklahoma,
Okay,
yeah, and
Oh, what a
and the guy comes out and he starts singing. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I thought these were all adults, but they were all high school students that were singing,
Yeah.
And so he had a minor role in there. He was
Is it a farmer or a cowman?
no, he was. Hackham.
Allie Hackham.
Yeah, he
Oh
was-
my God,
yeah.
that's an important role.
Well, so I'm pretty sure that's what it was because I just remembered that name, and so he had that part, and so I was I was really proud of him. Number one,
Yeah.
for doing
Your
that,
big brother.
right? And it was just like, oh, this is so cool, just to watch him do that. And from that point on, I thought, okay, well, then I would like to do that as well. And I'm not sure if it was the being on stage that I liked, or is just the whole idea of just being involved with music at that point.
Right.
So
And on all levels, with costume, with dance,
Right.
with singing.
right, yeah, and I mean, and at that point, I knew I wasn't a major vocalist whatsoever, and dancing wise, let me see, in high school was disco era, so I could do disco stuff, but other than that, it wasn't, Broadway stuff.
So maybe Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music,
Oh.
which you played, was a pretty good role. There's not a lot of dancing
Right,
in there.
yeah, right, yeah. And then, so when I got into high school, I was involved with shows as well. My high school director was great, and knowing knowing the type of production that he would put on, it was always a quality show.
Sure.
And so I thought, oh, this is cool. I'm going to be involved with something of quality. So that's why I joined it. Plus, a lot of my friends were in it
Sure.
at the time, and so my first high school show was Carousel. And then Damn Yankees, and then How to Succeed in Business, which I
Which is
said
your
was
favorite.
my all-time favorite. And then my senior year, we did Sound of Music.
Yeah. Good.
So
Good. Well, we could talk all night about that, but let's sort of move into college. You went to Mansfield in Pennsylvania.
yeah, Mansfield University. It was a Mansfield State College at the time
Okay.
when I went there, and then a couple years after it changed to the university system, and so I completed my bachelor's down there as a trumpet major with my bachelor's, and then a few years later, the wind ensemble conductor asked me to be a grad student down there. So, and I knew that I was going to be working with him as a conductor with the wind ensemble and symphonic band. So I grabbed the chance because I really I got so much out of his teachings when I was as an undergrad, and I really respected him and respected his groups quite a bit. So I jumped at the chance. So I completed my master's down there, and that was in piano and conducting.
Oh, great.
So that's where I got I enhanced my skills much more when I was down there.
Great.
Yeah.
And then you got a job in Warsaw and stayed there for 35 years.
Yeah, actually, I started in Warsaw as a elementary vocal
Yeah.
teacher.
Did you emulate your teacher?
Well,
Did you bring happiness every?
Sort of. I don't know. It was a different story. I wasn't a push car person. Actually, I was, because we were in two different buildings. One building I was a push car person. The other one I wasn't. It was such a different. It was different. I will tell you that for sure, because I got that position right after my bachelor's degree. So it was just like a couple weeks after I finished my bachelor's. I went for an interview. I got the position, and I thought, okay, this would be cool. It'd be a great startup position, for me. And it was great, but having little 5-year-olds grab my legs at the end and say, oh, Mr. S, Mr. S, at the end it just wasn't for me. And luckily the high school band director position opened up at the time, and so I jumped at the chance, and then completed my master's, and then came back, and then that's where I was for the other 30 years.
Yeah, and not only did you direct the band and have a, quite a reputable band, and you received many awards. Tell me about some of your teaching awards. Don't be modest, just.
Okay, well, one, my first big award, I guess, was the Margaret Warner University of Rochester Outstanding Teacher Award.
That's a big deal.
And that was in late '90s, and I was just honored because that's an award that's given by the students.
Oh, great! Congratulations
at the school. Thank you. And so I was honored, and knowing some of the other teachers who got it, before me and after me, it was a big honor. So I'm very proud of that one. That one I'm very proud of. There's Hornell also honored me with their Fine Arts Award in the early 2000s.
As an alumni.
As an alumni, right?
Great.
And so it was just I forget exactly what the name of it is, but it's for outstanding
Contribution,
contribution in performing arts.
Great.
Right. So that's those are my two big ones that I'm very honored and very proud of.
Yeah, and then so I do want to make sure we have lots of time to talk about your composing and your conducting. So I know that you conducted in the summer times in Italy and another country, right?
It was Italy and Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah,
Okay.
Whoa!
What
What
a way to spend a summer vacation.
So I was there for 4 summers.
Tell us all about that.
Well, the first time I went, I was approaching my 30th birthday, so 600 years ago. It was just so I was approaching my 30th birthday, and I wanted to do something special. I needed to do something special, so I thought, okay, I had never been to New York City at the time, and I had never been overseas, and so I applied to these 2 programs. One was at Columbia University for a summer program there to study conducting, and the other one was to tour Italy, Tuscany region of Italy. And so I applied to both of them. I had to audition, so I sent a tape, a cassette tape at that point, and so and I told all my colleagues at school, I said, whichever one responds first, that's where I'm going. So because I'd never been to either one of them, so either one wouldn't be an adventure for me. So I received the one letter in the first part of May. It was the Italy program.
Right.
The very next day, I received the Columbia program.
Oh, okay, good.
But it was
congratulations.
Italy,
they both
right,
wanted you.
Right. So I went to Italy. We left in the very first part of July, and we ended up in this beautiful medieval town called Siena, Italy. So it's like right in the heart of Tuscany, south of Florence, and so that's where our home base was there. And then for the rest of the time, we toured a majority of the small Tuscan towns. We went up to Venice for a day, and then we went up to Switzerland for a couple days and performed up there as well. And then came back and finished our
Italians
tour.
know a lot about music.
They love.
feel
Oh my
it.
gosh, they love musicians. They put musicians and teachers up on a pedestal over doctors and lawyers and everybody.
Really?
It's
Interesting.
amazing. I knew a little Italian from my grandparents. And
Suriani.
Yeah, so I was able to at least understand, not so much speak, but understand.
Right.
And they were just so open. They were just so open. I mean, especially in the smaller towns, it was wonderful because we would go to a smaller town. We would rehearse in the afternoon sometime, and then just walk around. Right. Well, you would walk around, and the people would invite you into their house, and they were all winemakers, and so you'd have to test all their wine from every household. And then we had this huge dinner where the entire town comes out and creates this dinner for this orchestra and chorus.
And how large How many people are you talking about?
We had about 60 people in our group,
Okay.
and so about 30 of them were part of a chorus, and 30 of them
Okay.
were part of a chamber orchestra.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we would have these in the town square, in the church, in school building, and then about 10 o'clock at night, we would have a concert after eating and
Right.
drinking all day long, and then we would have this concert at nighttime. So that first year, I got involved with the organization, and there was a brass instructor from Brooklyn Conservatory. His name is Doug Hedwig, and he's still around. He's
Oh
down.
yeah, I know that name.
He's down in Tennessee, and he's still composing.
Yes, I've seen his
okay.
name.
Just a wonderful character. I had a couple teachers in college that just made me feel so good about playing my trumpet. Okay, but it was like 8 years after I did my undergrad work, and then I met this gentleman, and just something about his teachings and so on just sparked, oh my gosh, I can actually play again, and it was just such a nice feeling. So we had this quintet that played, and the quintet also toured outside of this organization.
Oh, great.
So we were able to play elsewhere. Plus, the quintet also played in the town band, in the Siena band.
Oh, fun.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Siena, but they also had this polio race, the horse races, twice every
Yes,
summer.
yeah.
And so we were able to play in the polio band for these events as well. And that was just
exciting.
absolutely exciting. So that was my first year. The second year, I decided to ask if I could do more conducting, and so I was made assistant conductor for the orchestra, and that's where I got a lot of my orchestral skills. Because being a band conductor, you don't hear the orchestra music as much.
Right.
You might be familiar with it, but you've never conducted it before. So
Well, you have strings.
right, exactly, and
The whole string section.
is another animal in itself, So, but I really honed in some of my skills on, especially for being an orchestra conductor.
Good.
There, and so I did that for a couple more years, and then my final year, my fifth year, actually, I went for my fifth year. I just studied the language.
I was going to say, did it
So,
improve?
Yeah, so
great.
that whole summer was just studying the language, and so the teachers that I had there, I had met the previous year, and they were going to start this new school for foreigners, and so I said, okay, yeah, count me in, because I'd really like to, definitely learn the language more so, and so they started right in the very first day, and that's all we had to speak. We had to speak Italian the rest of the summer.
Right.
But my goal there was, we in our apartment, there were a few of us that rented an apartment, and we ran out of hot water, and so I had to call the landlord.
How did you
and
do?
the landlord didn't speak, any English whatsoever. So I had everything written down. Okay. This is what blah blah blah.
It's
blah,
like a
blah,
test.
Blah, 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 exactly. And sure enough, the next day we had hot water. It's like, yay, okay.
Oh,
So
good.
it worked out well. Plus the landlady's mother lived downstairs from us.
Yeah.
Just a sweet Italian lady who I would go over there, see her every day. And, we would sit and sort of talk.
Right.
Luckily, her granddaughter was there who spoke English. But we would just sit and talk every once in a while.
What a magical experience.
It was wonderful.
And have you seen Cinema Paradiso?
Yes.
Isn't that just the best movie? It's my favorite.
Yes, that is a wonderful piece. The composer just passed away.
Marconi?
I forget.
Yeah.
Ennio,
Ennio Morricone.
whatever. He just recently passed
beautiful.
away. I saw, where did I see that? You played the piece.
Yes.
And
in 2017
Okay,
with our community band.
Perry. We played it in 2017 as well. With one of my All-State students.
Okay.
And we played that for our concert as well. That's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a beautiful piece.
Well, what a wonderful segue into what are you going to do with the Perry Community Band, Ray?
Well,
What's your thinking there?
there were two people who in the past couple of years have really pushed the organization into a very quality group, and I would and I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody that's in the group, but thanks to you and your husband Dick for really pushing the quality of the group quite a bit. You've gotten so many quality people involved with the group, and I think that really helps with the people in the group thinking, okay, this is a top-notch group. It's not it's not just run of the mill and so on and so forth. I'm not familiar with what it was before. I mean, I knew there was a group here. I never was able to play it, because I was busy myself. But once I heard some of the people that play in the orchestra in the Genesee Symphony were down here as well, I figured, well, okay, then they're playing in it, then it must be a good group. So when you asked me a couple of years ago, then I was eagerly.
Well, we're so glad. We're so glad you did. And yes, when you love something, you want it to continue and grow. And I love it too because you've heard me talk about it in band, but my favorite definition of perfect is faithfully reproducing the original. And to me, the original is the divine composer, and then you've got the human composer, and just trying to play it together and just having that sort of love of all the musicians that come together. And I love it because it's so unselfish. The trombones are playing their parts, the trumpets, the triangle, the flutes, and we all make beautiful music together. I think it's one of the holiest experiences. And so for the band to go on, forward under your wonderful leadership, it's maybe you'll do a European tour. Maybe you'll go to Italy. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yep, yeah. Actually, that's on my itinerary for the fall. No, but
well, count me in
okay.
when you're ready to go.
When we do, then we'll let you know. The most exciting part about conducting is that first rehearsal where everyone is sight reading a new piece. That by far is the most exciting, because then it can only go. It can only get better.
Get better, okay.
Right? I mean, there are definitely ups and downs, throughout the season and so on and so forth. But it's like, okay, let's read this piece, and it could be the most difficult piece. It could be a level 6, New York State level 6 piece, and to watch everybody attempt to play this piece is very exciting for me. And then the next rehearsal,
I got a shiver just thinking about it.
Then the next rehearsal where things start coming together, it's like, okay, well, that makes a little more sense. Let's pull this apart. Okay, did you hear?
And you're
this?
so good
Did
at
you hear
that. You're
Thanks.
so good at your rehearsal techniques are very sound, and the way you we're going to work on measures 16 to 43, or whatever, and boom, and then you get that, and we're set. Then the next time, boom.
Right.
So you're building confidence with each piece, and then each player brings their own, and then you. But isn't it exciting to conduct?
Oh yeah, it's my all-time favorite thing.
For someone who's never had that experience, too bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, too bad. It's just a thrill.
It is.
It's a thrill.
It is. It's definitely a thrill. It's sort of like when I'm playing piano and I'm learning a new piece, and so I pull that apart as well. It's like, okay, I'm going to work on just so many measures, but I want to hear what this is going to sound like. And then when you move that to the band situation, it's like, okay, let's play this section, and what can we do to make this better? It's not what am I going to do to tell you, but what can we do to make this better as a group or as a section or whatever, and so on and so forth. And to watch the reactions. The best thing it was, it must have been 20, 25 years ago. And we were in the middle of this rehearsal, and I remember this one student in the trumpet section, she was sitting back there, and I know for the longest time she was struggling with this one section. And we played this one section, and all of a sudden she got it, and she just stopped, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and her eyes just got wide open. It's like, I did it. It was one of those things.
Yeah.
And that's the best feeling, that you were able to communicate that to that,
You got it.
right, to that student.
Click. Well, and unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap it up. I feel like we're just getting started, but I think you'll be so successful because, first of all, you bring your own passion. I mean, the minute in this interview when you said Lawrence Welk, boom, your eyes, So you have your own personal experience with music, but then you're a teacher, you're a gifted teacher, and you value that. And so what you've just described with that student, that teacher-student moment of, yeah, see, you got it. And then to bring that into just a musical group where everyone's playing together as a conductor, not as a teacher, but as a conductor, as that musical leader. You've got the whole package, Ray. And I just can't wait to see what you do. And Perry will be ever grateful to you for this new chapter, taking it forward. My husband and I sort of took over leadership from Eric Kelly and Guy Macaluso and Maggie Elias. I'm sorry, I don't remember her married name. But then we did it, and then we passed the baton on to you and Ed Van Zandt and Bob Leader. There's just so many wonderful, wonderful people and musicians that I wish you all the best, and I just look forward to doing it. Hopefully there'll be a Christmas concert. We're taping in July of 2020, so we're hoping.
Yeah, we can only hope. I've been in contact with the members of the organization at this point, and it's we'll just see. We're hoping for the best, and definitely looking forward to it. And I haven't heard any negative comments, about not playing or anything like that. But gave them some suggestions on how to continue on, and even if it's a small group, because the small ensembles are just as important.
Right, that's right.
That's
right.
So we'll just see what happens here.
Good.
So.
Well,
But
thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I'm looking forward to it, and I know with Ed and Bob, we're just going to continue, making music, and that's the most important thing.
That's right. That's right. And thank you for being a guest. This has been really fun.
You're welcome.
Really, really fun. And thank you for joining us on the Perry Connection, and we'll see you next time.